All right.
I
Just if
was
I was going to fire you if you weren't going to fire yourself.
well,
So, all right.
I was cooking dinner. So,
Ooh. What were you making? Now you got to tell. See, now we have to talk food again. Just like
I made homemade macaroni and cheese,
ooh.
and
I would certainly fire you for that.
pork tenderloin,
Ooh, there we go. That's better.
and homemade baked beans.
Ew,
You
ew,
must just like your meats.
ew. Macaroni. I'm like the only person on the face of the earth that does not eat macaroni and cheese. And I'm probably 50% of the population that doesn't eat baked beans. And I am probably 90% of the population that absolutely has to eat pork tenderloin. So it kind of all evens out.
Well, it was all cooked. Well, the pork tenderloin was cooked on the smoker.
Oh, baby.
So,
Fantastic. That's all I would eat. If I'd have been there, that's all I would have eaten. And I hope you wouldn't have been offended.
nah, nah.
Okay. All right. Macaroni and cheese. Homemade macaroni and cheese.
Yep.
Is that what you said? Homemade?
Uh huh.
So how do you make I just think of like whatever, out of a box. How do you go about making homemade macaroni and cheese?
Well, first I use the block cheese and I grate it. I don't buy grated cheese because it doesn't melt correctly.
Okay.
Um,
What kind of cheese? Cheddar?
we did cheddar and Michael wanted mozzarella in it, so
All right.
he wanted the two good melting cheeses. So
Okay.
that's what we did. And then I bake it with the cheese and everything and a little bit of milk in the oven
Yeah.
till the noodles are tender. And then I'd pull it out and I put breadcrumbs over the top of it, throw it back in, and cook it a little bit more.
Okay.
And the
It's
sad thing is, I'm allergic to cheese, and it's like my favorite thing in the world.
macaroni and cheese is, and,
Yes.
and you're allergic to it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the what is it in it that you're
It's the
allergic?
dairy. It's
Just
the dairy.
the dairy.
It's the dairy.
All right.
Yeah.
The thing is, I love macaroni and I love cheese, but there's something about them being put together that, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know. It's kind of like the same thing. I would compare it to like chocolate covered pretzels. I love pretzels. I love chocolate. Cannot eat chocolate covered pretzels. There's just
Huh.
something about it that doesn't taste right to me. So I'm weird like that.
I'll see, Nicholas of Valentine's Day, he doesn't, I don't think he really likes the chocolate covered pretzels, but he
Mhm.
loves my chocolate covered strawberries. So,
Well, I like good chocolate covered strawberries. Yeah, right. That is different. That is different. Okay. And then the baked beans. I just, I don't find macaroni and cheese disgusting. I just don't like the taste of it. Baked beans, no offense to your cooking or anybody else's cooking out there, baked beans are disgusting. The texture, all of it, not good. So obviously your family likes it, and I'm happy for
well,
them. I'm sure you did a fantastic job, but
Pickle loves baked beans, and that's one of those, I got to do for him.
yeah.
His favorite thing in the world is baked beans, and it's like, well, anytime I cook something, I always try to incorporate it. And I bought 2 cans on his birthday, and I didn't get them cooked, so
Hmm.
we had one tonight.
So what do you do? Bush baked beans or what? What?
And no, I party found the baked beans. LOL.
What?
She said party
Problems.
foul and baked
Yeah,
beans.
well, yeah, those can be lethal. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, they can be lethal. That's funny. I just
Oh.
what bush baked beans or what? What?
Um, yeah, and then I just jazz them up just a little bit so that way he'll eat them.
So like with brown sugar or something?
Well, this time I put maple syrup in them
Oh,
and a little bit of mustard.
oh, okay. See, I just
And he's like, "That's really good." And I was like, "Okay, I'm glad I
no.
made that for you, kiddo."
It was difficult for me growing up because with my family and my mother was pretty good cook, a better baker than a cook. But I was told that my mother makes some of the best baked beans around. I never had them.
Oh,
Never ate them.
your
Just
poor mom made the best baked beans around and you didn't even try them. Look
nope.
at you.
No. I ate all her cookies though. I made up for it by eating all of my mother's cookies, but the baked beans and yeah. So, but the pork
Well,
tenderloin.
and I know a lot of people.
The funny thing is, last night at trivia, I had a pork tenderloin sandwich. I love pork. Pork, I'm all about pork, man.
Well, I figure it's probably one of the healthiest meats out there.
Yeah, right. The other white
You
meat.
know, better for you than steak and
Yeah. Yeah, unless of course you fry it and everything else, which was what I had last night, fried tenderloin or whatever. But, in fact, that is probably when I go to trivia because it's at a restaurant. That's probably the most common thing that I order is the pork tenderloin sandwich, and it's good.
oh wow.
The price for it is very good, and how much you get is very good, and so it's a nice combo. But overall, I think that what you made tonight is mostly a crowd pleaser. But I am a little picky of an eater, so yeah.
Oh, I say Nicholas is, but he's not that picky, at least not yet.
Okay. Huh.
I tell everyone he's my picky eater. Don't expect much out of him.
So what did you
Like
do
he
with
will not
what'd you do with your pork tenderloin? How did you cook that?
on the smoker.
On the smoke. Oh, okay, right. On the smoker. Didn't fry or anything, just
Nope, just put it on the smoker.
fantastic. Any seasoning like Old Bay or salt and pepper? What'd you do?
I bought a grilling seasoning that has maple and brown sugar in it and bourbon.
Okay.
It's the
Party
flavoring of it.
cheese.
It's not actually bourbon in it. It's just
Okay.
the flavoring.
Okay.
Trust me, no children were harmed.
That's funny. All right, so you put some season on it, put it in the smoker. How long does that take?
I started about 4 o'clock and I pulled it about 6:40.
Wow, over 2.5 hours.
Yes, at 200 degrees. So
Okay.
I let it
And
sit there,
I know we've talked about this before. What kind of wood are you using in your smoker?
It is the Sportsman pellets in my smoker.
Okay. I don't even know what that means.
It's a different blend of pellets with like apple wood
Okay.
and cherry. I don't have the sack anymore. I was trying to look for it.
Okay.
And then you put them into the back of the stove, or you put them in the little box, push a little button that says power, set your temperature, and let it go.
Wow.
It's even got
that sounds fantastic. That for me would surely make up for the mac and cheese and the baked beans. So,
and it comes with probes that read the temperature and send it to your phone whenever it's ready.
Oh, wow. Neat. Yeah, I do not believe. I mean, I've had pork all sorts of different ways. Pretty sure I've never had it smoked. Pretty sure.
It's
So,
pretty good.
okay.
It's different.
Okay.
I mean, I got the idea because I had some pork chops that I put on here not too long ago, and they were some of the best pork chops that we've had in a long time. And everyone, like,
Uh,
his mom doesn't like my cooking, but she ate more than her fair share of them.
the only time I really have, of course, other than going to trivia, is my dad makes pork chops. In the past, has made pork chops once in a while and everything. But I really don't buy it to, for here at home. Just, I suppose I could cook it like on my George Foreman grill or something, but
Yeah.
just haven't done that. Okay.
His
Well,
mom grills hers on the flat top that she has, little griddle.
yeah. Yeah, on a
Just
griddle.
puts them
Okay.
on there. And
Yeah. Yeah, right. The griddle. What I remember. It's funny. I have a distinct memory of griddles of when we would go to Canada fishing. My parents would take a griddle, to make pancakes.
mm-hmm,
You did the Bisquick or whatever it was, and
mm-hmm.
that was like the only time that those griddles ever got used when we would go to Canada fishing. You get up in the morning and then make pancakes. Never made pancakes at home or anywhere else. Only when we
Just
went
while y'all were
fishing.
out fishing.
It was just the thing. I never saw those griddles used in the United States. Only when we went to Canada. It was weird. So yeah, but the griddle, sure, I can see that. Okay. What else has been going on?
I've been watching our friends' kids for them. Matter of fact, it's my mod in chat. Uh, Guys, sunburnt.
Oh, did you?
Well, they have a pond, and the kids and all of us were swimming. I got conned into it, and
Ouch.
so I got in, and
Ouch.
my shoulders and
Ouch.
my chest, from where my shirt is,
Yeah.
is
On your
beat red.
neckline, like, yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
So
Ouch.
found out what Lanacaine's good for. I, I I didn't know what else to do. I was in so much pain.
Yeah.
And I found a spray at Walmart. Well, I hate Walmart. I'm not going to Walmart. I will go every which direction but to Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what is the active ingredient in it? And it said it was something cane, like sun cane or something.
Cocaine.
I was like, well, that's got to be Atlanta cane. So why not just buy a tube of or a bottle of Lanacane and use it for the shoulders, right?
Yeah.
It seems to be working because earlier I couldn't move barely.
Yeah.
Because I was hurting so bad.
How long were you out there?
Maybe 30 minutes.
Oh, jeez. Okay. The thing is, though, if you're around water, it really magnifies it.
Uh-huh.
Water makes it worse, for sure. The glare off the water.
My face just got tanner. And the rest of my arms got tanner. It's just the very tops of my shoulders.
Yeah. Had that.
Ugh.
I've had that, man, sunburns. I haven't had a sunburn like that in a long time, even though I live here in Florida and have played disc golf outside and everything else. It's been, and even I've actually worked on my tan, spending some time outside, maybe starting the big end of May or something, but I have not gotten burned spending just 30 minutes out there or whatever. But yeah, I've had some bad sunburns in my life too. Ugh. Ugh.
Well, I usually try to avoid sun because when I was living in Arizona, they said I had lupus, but here in Oklahoma, they can't find it. So something happened. You know,
Okay.
could have just been the move, you know what I mean? Or God only knows what, is different from here from there. But so I've avoided the sun for all these years, being out in direct sunlight without even a t shirt on.
Mm.
Well, this time I went stupid.
Should have put some SPF on, SPF 50 or something.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. Yep.
I remember one time, once again, coincidentally going back to Canada, we went up there fishing. It was me, my parents, and my best friend Doug, and we were out there on the lake, Rice Lake, and I got a sunburn so bad, and I had my shirt off. I got a sunburn so bad I couldn't lie down in a regular bed. There was a couch that had like plastic cushions that were, how plastic
Uh huh.
it's like cool. It's kind of
Uh huh.
cool.
Uh
I
huh.
laid on that to be able to try to get comfortable. And I was burnt so bad that I was actually having hallucinations.
Oh,
This
geez.
must have been 1987, maybe 687, somewhere in there. And I had a hallucination. We were like in this cabin on Rice Lake, and it had 2 floors. And I was hallucinating that people were walking up from like the bottom floor up into the second floor where I was.
Oh,
Kind
wow.
of like walking away from me, like into nothing, walking up. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was not good. Yeah,
Well, I
that
was
was a bad
crying
time.
earlier. Before I got the Lanacane, I was crying. I even asked Michael, I was like, do I need to go to the hospital or urgent care? Since I'm off today. And he's like, no, 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 no. I'm like, you don't understand. I'm hurting to move.
Yeah, I believe
And
it.
I don't sleep on my back. And last night I did half the night.
I've seen it here, in this building that I live in. Of course, I live here, but many of the other condos are rented out. People come down for a week, and of course, during the winter, people stay here for a few months. But I will see people go out to the beach. They're all pasty white, coming from like, I don't know, Iowa or something. And they'll come down here. I'll see them going out to the beach, and I'll see them the next day, just burnt red. Red like in the YouTube logo. That red. Oh, I can't
Oh,
imagine.
God.
Oh man.
Well,
I've
see, my
lost
arms
that.
tanned,
Yeah.
my face tanned, everything else tanned. My nose didn't even get red. Because that's normally the first place. If I'm going to get
Yeah.
a bad blister burn, it used to be on my nose. That was about it.
Yeah.
Well, and I told Michael, I was like, I guess I don't know what's going on with my son. Normally, he's the one that burns because he's the blonde hair, blue eyed, little
Yeah.
boy. Well,
Unbelievable. That sucks.
he
So you
isn't even.
feel so
He didn't
not
even burn.
so Nick didn't get burnt or what?
Nope. Nope. Didn't get burned once.
Well, that's good. Good.
His face got a little red. I gave him the aloe. I told him to put the aloe on his face.
Yeah.
He did. And the next morning he woke up and it was gone. Just darker tan. And I was like, I don't like you right now, child. That used to be me. With being native, you wouldn't expect a white native person.
Yes.
Oh.
Man, I've seen so many people get them since particularly moving into this building the last so many years. I lived in Las Vegas all those years. Of course, it's hot most of the year, sunny most of the year. Spent a lot of time at at the pools, of the apartment complexes where I was and everything. Pretty good. I'm pretty good at avoiding sunburns the last 25 years, I would say. But yeah, going back to like the 1980s into maybe the 90s, yeah, I did stupid stuff. Not protecting my skin.
Oh, well, like I said, this is the first time, and I normally, if I do put one on, it's one of the ones that's supposed to help you tan, one of the bronzing sunscreens.
Yeah.
No, I didn't even have that on me.
I have SPF 50. But really, when I go out, I'm just looking to protect my face, so I'll have a hat on or something.
Yeah.
So as you can tell, my face does not have that much sun on it, but I just try to avoid that. But yeah, shoulders, like you said, you got burned on your shoulders.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the worst because you have shirt on and that's where the cloth touches. It's hanging from there. Oh man. Yeah, that's like one of the worst spots. It's one of the worst. Because it's constantly touching there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, baby. All right.
And then we have
You're gonna peel, start peeling at some point. All those dead skin cells gonna peel off.
Well, that's what I told Michael. I was like, I always was a firm believer, get a base sunburn before you ever try to tan. And this is why. Because I'll peel, so it'll turn a little bit darker, and then from there on, it should just tan. This time I got so blistered, there's going to be peeling all right.
Yeah.
Man,
I hate hearing that for you, D. All right. What do we have to talk about? You sent me some cases.
Yes, I
did. It's from one of the few states that has not been featured on Unfound yet, and that is Hawaii. I've done an Unfound now from Hawaii, and I even analyzed another disappearance on a live show from Hawaii, but officially, we've never covered a disappearance, with an interview and everything for the podcast from Hawaii. So this was interesting. You sent me a couple.
Well, I was playing around with Namus and found them, and I was like, "Ooh, I like these."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I was like, you know what? Why don't we just go from one side of this, from the bottom to the top of the United States map? I'm pretty sure we have time. I don't see us going anywhere anytime soon.
Right. So you sent me Valerie Park, which is the more recent one.
Yeah.
And then the older one is Fumi Oye, Oye. Valerie Park was 83. Which one you want to do first? You want to do the older one first? The one from 1982?
Yeah, we can go ahead and do her first. Let me go ahead and get stuff opened.
All right. So really not a lot on her disappearance. And maybe we should remind everybody the reason we're looking at these particular disappearances, older women who seemingly disappeared from their homes, trying to learn as much as we can about this type of disappearance because of Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. And I think my impression, D, is that I think what we continue to discover is although older women, let's just say of retirement age and above, let's say 65 and above, AARP, Social Security age and above, certainly women do disappear from their homes. But as I think where we started with this so many months ago, still very unusual for any women to be abducted.
Yeah.
from their homes, and it be obvious. It very well may be that, I don't know about Fumi, maybe the other woman we're going to talk about, Valerie, she might have been abducted, but not obviously so. It's still, as much as we've looked at so many women over the so many months, it still seems pretty rare. What do you think, Dee?
I agree. Where most women, it seems like they're more of the walk-off type of disappearance,
Right.
and someone inside their home making them go missing, or more or less, let's just say, inside their own families, via husband, children, and so on.
Right. Right. I agree with you. In addition, the ones that we've looked at that, although technically they're still unsolved, there's Nick. Hello, Nick.
Yes. Give me a second. I'll be right back if you want to keep talking.
All right.
All right.
Well, what I was going to say was that, but when Dee and I have covered, we've encountered or discovered some disappearances, once again, of women of Social Security age and above, when there are reasons to believe that they've been abducted, maybe obviously so with violence or something like that. Almost all of the time, it is by some guy who knew her, knew the family, had a problem with her husband, or something like that. I don't know yet, after we've started this, maybe back in February, how many disappearances of, let's just say, baby boomer age women. I don't know if we've covered any where it seems like a woman got abducted by a stranger. So when we're looking at Nancy Guthrie's disappearance, that is now, what was that, February 1st, February, March, April, May, June. We're halfway through July, so 5.5 months that it's happened. I think we still have to come to the conclusion that she was abducted by somebody who knew her. And although we can't be sure that she knew the guy, I think that's still where we are regarding those. There's nothing that, given that, I think Dee has picked out some very relevant, seemingly relevant disappearances. Still nothing that I've seen that has changed my mind much about believing that whoever abducted Nancy knew her, because we continue to encounter disappearances that, if they are abductions, obviously so, there's reason to believe, there's enough other information to believe that somebody who knew the woman did it.
Yeah.
And now we also have to remember, though, maybe Dee, you and I understand this. Maybe the audience may not as much understand this, is that we're only quote unquote 5.5 months into this. That's it.
This is true.
And we have to remember that some of these disappearances that we've looked at, like, the woman, where was it? Louisiana, somewhere in one of the southern states.
Yes. I think all three of them were Louisiana or Florida.
Where I'm thinking of the one where her husband had a business problem, and it seems like one of the guys who had a problem with the husband did it.
Yep, it was a southern. I think it was either Mississippi or Alabama.
That's right. Might have been Mississippi. I think you might be right about that. And then we have the Brock woman up there in Minnesota. We just have to remember that at the time of their disappearances, and still both those disappearances are still unsolved, I don't think 5.5 months into those disappearances that it was overtly obvious what happened. So even when we're talking about Nancy Guthrie, and we're going to talk about these two women here in Hawaii in a second, we have to remember this is still 5.5 months in, still very early in the process.
Yep.
And it very well could be that a year from now, Nancy could still be missing, but we actually have more factual information, not all this crap you see on TMZ and all the news stations. but actual factual information, it very well could be a year from now we have more factual information that may help us narrow down a list of suspects if there even is a list. Just have to remember that. So it is possible that women can be abducted and believe that they are now deceased, but it not be obvious for months. Unless, once again, unless, or they were abducted by somebody they know, it may take a while. So that still could very well be the case with Nancy. And I think that's eventually what it's going to be. But I actually found for Fumi, if we're going to do Fumi's first, I sent that article to you. And I'm going to read from it, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. This is an article that I found about Fumi Oye's, O-Y-E, disappearance. It's from the Honolulu Star Bulletin, May 7th of 1982. It says policeman baffled after two vanish. Although most elderly persons who turn up missing soon are located, two missing persons cases this year have police and the families involved baffled. William Choksey, 82, of the Fort Shafter area, has been missing since April 25th, so about 2 weeks before this is published. And his family has been placing ads on Honolulu newspapers trying to find him. The other baffling case is that of Fumi Oye, 84 years old, who's been missing since January 25th from her Moililai home. I apologize. I surely did not pronounce that correctly. Officer Joseph Self stated, echoes the words of the two families, and that nothing has been learned about the missing Oye or Choksey people. Although many older persons are reported missing, they usually turn up. Self said, the Oye and Choksey cases are unusual. We don't have a rash of missing older persons, none that I know of, Self said. Choksey, also known as William Chalk, is an old-time ukulele, or they describe him. He's described as Hawaiian Chinese, 5'4", 160 pounds, little guy. And he was last seen in the Fort Shafter area on April 25th. Well, just to take care of that one, unfortunately, just a few days, as I discovered, and sending that to you also, D, just a few days after this was published on May 7th of 1982, William Choksey was found deceased.
Oh, wow.
Not foul play. And he was actually found inside a culvert. So they're thinking that for some reason he went for a walk. Maybe he had some mental issues, and we're going to get into that in a moment. Maybe some mental incapacity issues. And he crawled into that culvert and died. And I found the article that finding him, he was found by three kids just playing around. And I could find nothing that says they ever decided that it was foul play. They seem to be pretty satisfied that something went on and he died for some reason inside that culvert. So if you're wondering, well, what about this guy? He was found by accident, even after all these searches and everything. Three kids who probably didn't even know he was missing found him. But for Fumi, she is still missing here in 2026. It says Fumi is believed to have walked to the shopping area near University Avenue, King and Baratania Streets on January 25th. She has not been seen since, so this is 4 or 5 months before this was published. She is only 4'10", 85 pounds, like the size of my biological mother. That's like your height, right, D?
Yep. Yeah, I'm a little bit taller than that, just a wee bit.
All right, okay. She has white hair and wears glasses. She was dressed in a blue dress, beige, sleeveless sweater, and black slippers, and was carrying a black handbag when she disappeared. Her son, Naoto, always said yesterday, we've just been praying that she will be found. Anyone having information about Oye or Choksey is asked to get in touch with the police. Once again, William was found deceased a couple days after this was published. Fumi, all of these years later, so 44 years later, still missing. So anything that jumps in, that's really all we have on her disappearance. There's really no more facts than that. Anything that jumps out at you, D, about Fumi's?
Well, and I know I sent you the Charlie Project stuff,
Yeah,
but in that it stated that they believe she had went shopping
right,
or went to a nearby shopping center.
right. That's right.
So and then that's where my questions would start would be okay, what happened between her home and the shopping center? Did she walk? Did she drive?
Hmm.
I would want more answers to that. But
Yeah,
other than that, that's about it. I mean, there's not
yeah.
a lot
Um,
to it.
I have, of course, this is 44 years ago. I don't know how much that area has changed. I did not go to Google Street View, but this does sound like a fairly urban area. Even though people think of Hawaii, beautiful, lush jungle and everything. If you're in the Honolulu area, it's just like you're in any American city. Very busy, a lot of cars. Um, certainly you get out of town, it's Hawaii. But if you're in Honolulu, it's just another city. So we have to remember that this isn't some small town. This is a big city. It seems unlikely that she could have gone into a body of water or something like that in broad daylight. So the question, what I would be thinking about is, how do we know that she went shopping? Did somebody actually see her walking? Was she living with somebody? Did somebody say, "Oh yeah, she left"?
That's another question.
How do we know that? And
Well, how
who
would they
is
know her clothing description either? You know what I mean?
right? Right. So, as you know, D, for me, it's always important to figure out, well, okay, if that is a fact, how do we know that? If she was wearing these clothes, who says so?
Exactly.
So, coming back to, was she living with somebody? Did she have a roommate? Was this a neighbor? Did somebody see her walking on the street who can be believed? Are we sure we're getting the right day? All of these things come up.
Considering this was pre-TV era, or pre,
Pre-video.
yeah.
The odds of getting her on video in Hawaii in 1982, pretty small. Not impossible, but small.
Okay, we have a question from chat. Did she take a walk and maybe have a medical episode walking on a trail or something? Possibly. What do you think?
Could have. Like I said, I did not check Google Street View, but even so, this would be 40 some years later. I don't know how accurate that would be compared to what it looked like in 1982, but I will go back to, it's a city. Let's not get caught up in, well, it's Hawaii. Honolulu is a big time city.
Yeah,
And
considering she lived close to the shopping center was near the University Avenue and King, and I'm going to slaughter the other street name.
Yeah, me too. Right. This other. Yeah, where is this?
That would be over in the Charlie Project.
Right. I'm looking at, I'm gonna just pull up the original article. King and Baratania Streets. Sounds like a busy area to me. University Avenue usually means that there's a university there.
Mm-hmm.
So is it possible she had a medical event? Sure. I mean, when you're in your 80s, Every day is a gift. But the question would then be, well, if that's so, why didn't somebody see her? Why didn't somebody find her? If she died and collapsed into the bushes, is she still in those bushes 44 years later? I guess it's possible. But without me looking at the area, it's really, I can't put a percentage chance on that. It seems unlikely, given she's 80 some years old, that she could have walked out of town. So is this even when we think about a similar disappearance like Bo Man, who went missing in Santa Monica. He's missing for a while. Of course, he was found right down the street inside an abandoned courtyard of a building or something, by accident. But that only took like a year and a half for that to be discovered. Here we are 44 years later, so it seems unlikely that he had a medical event straight into some abandoned building and then has been hidden that whole time. It seems unlikely. Not impossible, but unlikely.
Yeah.
And that's why, so when I start, Jenna, when I start calculating these things in my head, knowing that, I start going back to, well, how do we know that she really went shopping? Did she really go shopping? Is somebody just saying that? Who is this witness? I'm guessing that this witness was not questioned for several days. Let's just say that this person is totally innocent of anything. How long did it take for this person to be questioned? Are we sure this witness is getting the right day? There's so much wiggle room in all of this.
Mm-hmm.
So can we be sure she went shopping? No, despite what it says.
Exactly.
I
mean, like I said, whoever the witness is was able to get a description of clothing and the fact that she had carried her purse with her.
Right.
Right.
Who was the witness and how did they know that the information, and why didn't they say something sooner? It's just hard to say, Jenna. We don't, once again, because we don't know who this person is, it's hard to say. Now, obviously, if it's a roommate that Fumi had and the person didn't come forward for 2 weeks, yeah, that's suspicious. But if this is just somebody who was driving around that day and saw Fumi walking, who doesn't even know her and didn't know she was missing until like on the news or something, that's something different.
And I can even contrast this with the Nancy Guthrie stuff. Once again, if it wasn't for Nancy's kids and the fact she had church that day and didn't show up,
right?
That camera footage and all could have been missing.
That's right. Dee brings up an excellent point. I mean, what if Nancy did not have a pattern schedule of going to church? I don't care what her religion is, but let's just say she was not a churchgoer. Then we wouldn't have known, and she maybe didn't normally talk to her friends or anybody on Sundays. She kind of just chilled out at home, and we might not have known that she went missing till Monday or Tuesday. I don't know how much that changes the investigation, but it certainly makes it more difficult. It's already difficult. Obviously, she's still missing 5.5 months later. It's already difficult. It just makes it even more difficult. So, hello. But yeah, Dee, you bring up a great point that we have to, when it comes to really realizing when people go missing, it's best to know as soon as possible.
Yep.
And then even then, it's like, well, can we believe this person?
This is so true. Because, like
Right.
I said with Nancy's, if it wouldn't have been for the two things in that case, it may have been the next day or the day after that before her daughter Annie decided, hey, I haven't heard from mom. I should go check on her.
Right. That's right.
You know?
No, like I said, I don't know how much that changes things, but it's always a factor. It's always something you have to consider.
Mm-hmm.
Always. So I think with Fumi, I didn't read anything anywhere that she was having any mental issues. But once again, you're 80 some years old. Things change fast. And maybe she had an issue that maybe she knew she was having an issue and kind of covering up, as a lot of older people do. They start realizing maybe they're losing, forgetting people's names, and they start compensating and they start cheating them their way through conversations and things. Very common. So that has to be considered. So just because there's nothing written about her possibly having, let's say dementia or something, doesn't mean that she wasn't. So there's that. So even so, I'm not sure if that would explain anything anyway. I mean, once again, she's in a city. How far could she go? Jen, I haven't had a chance to look deeply into this yet, but I wonder if the missing was well off for that time and if someone would benefit from a disappearance. Could be. Could be. I don't think, speaking of which, though, I did find that she was finally declared, Fumi was declared deceased in 1990. So if anybody was looking to get a hand on her stuff, they had to wait 8 years.
Yeah. That's like I keep saying about Nancy's, it takes 5 years via the state of Arizona to be declared dead. If it was someone looking for money and it was actually family, they should know this,
Right.
stuff. But
So for Fumi, I guess we just have to accept that she was shopping. But I don't want to get too caught up in that idea that I cannot entertain other ideas. That
yeah,
maybe she was taken from her home and there was just no signs of violence or something. Or maybe she left her home voluntarily, or she knew she was losing it, didn't want to be a burden on people, and she walked off to die somewhere. I don't think there's anything that I've read in any of that that rules it out.
I would agree.
All right.
And it's sad because,
Yeah, I'm hoping that
it's more the walk off than anything.
well, for myself, I hope to make it to 80 some years old, but I hope I don't have to be put in those types of contemplations. I hope I have my mind and everything else, and I just keel over because of a heart attack. We should all be so fortunate. But knowing that you're losing your faculties and things.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, let's talk about Valerie now. And this is a much more recent disappearance, still on Hawaii. But I don't think this is on. Was this actually on the island of Oahu, or was it on the Big Island, or whatever? It says Hana, Hawaii. Don't know.
Anyway, that would not be actually in Honolulu. That's I think one of the islands is Hana or Hana.
Okay. But for Valerie, approximately the same age as Fumi, but it is written here that Valerie was suffering from dementia. She needs medication for high blood pressure, and she's hard of hearing. She reads lips to understand what people are saying. And this is a disappearance from 2020, so kind of during COVID times, which, as Dee brought up when we were talking about our case before we turned on the microphones, maybe it's something that we have to remember for this. Park was last seen at a residence in Hana, Hawaii at 8 p.m. on November 5th, 2020. At 5 a.m. the next day, she was discovered missing. Her handbag with her money and identification was left behind. Valerie is a retired Parks and Recreation Department employee. Her last name's Park, and she works for the Parks Department. There's something funny about that. She is childless, but did help her raise her nieces and nephews, and she was close to her family and saw them daily. She does not drive, and according to her family, it would be uncharacteristic of her to go into the water. An extensive search of the area turned up no indication of her whereabouts. Her case remains unsolved. I could not find anything on newspapers.com written anything about her disappearance as far as any searches or the actual address where she lived, although I probably could get that on one of my databases. She lived on one of the other islands. Did she live close to the water, close to the Pacific Ocean? I have no idea. But I think what is important here? What jumps out first to you, Dee? What do you think?
Well, I mean, we already know we got the mental health issue here.
Right.
That's the first thing that I see. But if she worked for the Park and Recreation and retired from there, what are the chances with the mental issue that she walked back? Thought, oh, today's a work day.
Right. Right. Common.
Very common.
Common. Did she get up thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to work today? She started. Now why she would forget her ID and everything. But this is common for people with these afflictions to think they are still working. They're still in the workforce or, living out patterns in their lives that they used to have that they don't have now. Common. Places that they like to go. And as I told Dee, this is like a public service announcement that I wanted to make. I'm not going to use any names, and it's not in my family. But, there's somebody who is dealing with this right now, a friend of mine, who is going to be taking care of somebody like Valerie for a week. And this person's more than happy to do it, but I have been going through this, and this person, like I said, keeping names out of it, but this friend of mine is going to be taking care of somebody, an older person who has the same things going on that Valerie does or did. And this person has walked off in the past. This person has gotten in cars or taxis or whatever and gone to offices thinking that this person was still in business or something, whereas this person has been retired for a while. And I was telling this friend of mine, and this person is not, my friend does not have any medical degree or anything like that. He's not a caregiver for anybody. But I keep telling my friend, you're going to have your work cut out for you, man, for a week. And you just can't take chances with these people.
Yeah.
That, as you know, Dee, some months ago, I did an Unfound Now with Petro Kuko, a guy who was in his early 90s with kind of Alzheimer's, dementia. I know they're different. Not far from me here in Pinellas County, and I actually drove over there, and he walked off from an apartment complex where he was living with his family. He is still missing.
Yeah.
He went missing, what was it, December or January, somewhere like that.
It was December. For some reason, December stands out.
Yeah. So he is still missing. I talked to a member of his family, tried to help him out, gave him my best insight that I could. But that is how quickly it can happen. And if anybody's listening to this, anybody's watching this, and you have somebody in your family who sounds like Valerie or sounds like Petro Kuko, and I have a member of my trivia team, her husband has completely lost his memory and everything else. He doesn't realize, he thinks he still has a car and he thinks he can still drive, and he doesn't know his house anymore. I mean, it's very sad. Very, very sad. But you cannot take anything for granted with people with these problems.
I will agree. With being a CNA and
Mhm.
the stuff I've done in my past with nursing and stuff,
Yeah, right.
they're the weakest and they're the most vulnerable people out there. Almost like a young child.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
unfortunately, with a young child, or fortunately with a young child, you can lock the door and they can't open it. That's the good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Till they hit about 6 and they just open it to complete strangers.
And on Unfound, of course, the first disappearance that comes to mind when I think about this is one from several years ago now. David Hardy Jr. He was into his 80s, and he was driving around. His family, just bluntly, did not have the courage to take his keys away. So they were just allowing him to get in the car and do whatever he wanted. And one of his sons would go find him and bring him back. And that's what happened the day that he went missing. He went somewhere, got lost. Somebody called. The son in his own car went to get his father. And David Hardy was supposed to follow his son back, just went a different direction. The car was found. David was not. And people who ignore these things and cross their fingers and think things are going to get better, and you are kidding yourselves. You are kidding yourselves. And I realize it's difficult. It's difficult to say, what, this person can't drive anymore. This person can't take care of himself anymore. This person can't eat for himself. He can't go shopping for himself anymore. It's all very difficult. What's worse, and then you have to make a decision regarding all this. What's worse? That person goes missing. That's worse.
Yeah.
Ask me how I know. These people who are living with knowing in retrospect, man, I should have done something. They are in a much worse hell than they were before the person went missing and they were sitting around, well, we're going to take the guy's keys away or not. It's not even close. It's not even close. So for Valerie, she could have gotten taken, but given, it seems, first of all, she should not have been living by herself. Should not. It's obvious if she'd already been diagnosed at the time of her disappearance, the diagnosis is when the care should start.
I'll see, I had an uncle who passed away from, Alzheimer's because
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
So I remember my Aunt Albany, like I said, she made the remark, it was worse than having the 6 young children she had in her house at one point in time versus Alzheimer's. She goes, I can lock a door with them. What am I supposed to do with him? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Can't give you any advice on it. Even today, I can't give advice on that. And I'll never forget my Uncle Otto, first time he saw my oldest son. My Aunt Albany goes, do you know who that is, Uncle or Otto? And he goes, I don't know. She needs to talk. And I was like, hey, Uncle Otto. And he goes, yes, I do. That's my son. And I handed him my son. He was holding the baby, and my aunt goes, do you know whose baby you're holding? He goes, yeah, my Dion's baby. He knew exactly who I was.
Mm-hmm.
He knew that it was his great nephew, everything. So I went on a good day versus a bad day. Best way to explain it.
Right. So for Valerie, Very well could be it's foul play, probably not. It's could be, as Dee stated, if she woke up that morning thinking she was still a park ranger or whatever, and she took off for work, good luck finding her.
Yeah.
Because the tough thing about these people is usually their minds are gone, but their bodies still work. Of course, eventually, just the brain, of course, the body starts to deteriorate because the brain is deteriorating. But initially, they lose their memory, I think, but the rest of their body just works fine. They can walk, and can do all those things, and who knows how far they can go. So for Valerie, it very well may be that she ended up in the water. I'd have to know where she lived and try to calculate that all out. But I don't even think it matters. This is a disappearance that most likely was not foul play. Walking off, she should not have been living by herself. And it should be a cautionary tale to everybody out there. I think what I think happens, D, is that too many people think, well, nothing happened today, so we can go for another day. They didn't walk off today, so I guess they're fine. The point they didn't walk off. They didn't forget to turn the stove off today. They're fine. Really, you're just getting lucky. It's not progressing some sort of plan or anything like in that person's mind. It just, the bad thing just didn't happen today. That's all it means. Too many people putting it off until something, bad happens. Then that's how you end up with burned down houses and disappearances and driving in cars and wrecking them and everything else.
Uh-huh.
So don't do it. I know it sucks. Of course, I have a father who's 89 years old. Luckily, he still has his mind. He has other issues, but with his mind and everything, his memory and everything, is fine. Of course, he has people who are coming and helping him out these days. I think 5 days a week now. From like in the morning, which he enjoys. So, I'm not exactly in that situation. And I'm very fortunate. But don't put this off. Don't allow these people that, if you love them, you need to make some very difficult decisions for them. I know you love them. Well, I don't want to. It's actually the opposite.
Yeah.
You love them. You need to make some tough decisions for them. It's no different than your dog that's been diagnosed with cancer. You got to put the dog down because you love the dog. I know it's very difficult for us to do, but that is the right loving thing to do. In contrast to allowing the dog to live in pain just because you can't make a tough decision.
I would agree.
So that's my public service announcement in regards to Valerie. I feel, just don't have a lot. We have, it seems perceptually, we have more information with Fumi's. If we're to believe it, she actually went shopping, if we're going to want to believe that. It seems we have more information on that than we do with Valerie Park.
Yeah. It seems like with the older case, we have more info, even though it doesn't seem like there's a lot. And that makes me question, is it because, Hawaii being such, spread out islands that make up different states, I guess, different, I don't know how it works, but you know what I mean.
Just before I leave you tonight, I am going to look up wherever this Hana, Hawaii is. Where is it? Yeah, it is right on the water, D. It is on. It's on Maui.
Oh.
It's on the island of Maui, of course, not overtly populated there. It is on the extreme east coast of Maui. And if people don't know, Honolulu is actually on Oahu. Yeah, it's extreme east side of Maui. So yeah, I guess she could have gone in the water, but everything around her is just green. I mean, she could be anywhere.
Ugh.
Very bad, very sad, very sad.
Well, once again, if her family runs across this live.
That's right. We're happy to help them out, happy to publicize it, talk about Valerie, Fumi, of course, as well.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. We'll do what we can. I'm still looking to feature my first Hawaii disappearance on the podcast. We almost got all 50 states covered. I'd like to, I'd like to get that done. So, all right. Well, that's all I got for you tonight, D.
We'll
Good two
see.
choices, two good. Got some public service announcement, trying to help everybody out there, give them some tips.
Yep.
So, I hope you're feeling better, D. Your sunburn and everything, as we know, it eventually goes away. It's just miserable. It just is completely miserable.
It hurts to sleep because I'm a side sleeper that sleeps with my arm underneath my head.
When did this happen?
Okay, so yesterday was Wednesday. Tuesday?
All right, so 2 days, yeah. Yeah, you're in the middle of it now. Yeah, 2 days in, that sucks. You just have to let it run its course. Jen, it's my fault.
It's my fault. She is burnt Tuesday.
All right, D. Well, I'm gonna go.
All
Good
right.
talking to you. Good choice of cases tonight to discuss.
It's always nice having you, Ed.
All right, we'll be talking on Messenger, D.
All right, talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. The kids refuse to stay out of the pond. Yes, they do. And then Nicholas got in trouble yesterday, Jenna. Because the boys talked him into going swimming, and he went running. And Michael come home, was on his way back out there. I didn't even tell Nicholas. I let him get in trouble. You ain't gonna listen to me. I'll let him wear your little bottom out. Well, his face was red. Tuesday night, it was beet red. Looked more burnt than my shoulders. And then they talked him into going swimming with them yesterday, and he went out that door as Michael was pulling up, but I didn't say a word to him. Not a word. I thought it was funny. For once, people see my little turkey's more of a little turkey than anybody could imagine. He acts like a sweet, innocent child. Yep. I guess I gotta go. Message me. And talk to the rest of you guys later. Bye.